Growing up in Western Pennsylvania, we really didn't have very much. My mother was raised in West Virginia in poverty, without running water, without electricity. My father grew up in Pennsylvania, had to quit school after the 8th grade and went to the military to send money home. I was the youngest of 4. I am the first one in my family, either side of my family, to go to college, and that even though the financial support wasn't there, the moral support was always there, and that really meant the world to me. Sometimes my students tease me a little bit because they come in and they look at my filing cabinet and they say, gee, if people didn't know better, they'd think you have 6 or 7 kids, but I just have a lot of pictures of them. And even when I get more updated pictures, I have trouble taking the older ones down. Tracy and I have been married for 25 years, and I took a year off after my undergraduate work, and I worked as a crisis worker. And so we had some pretty interesting dates because sometimes I would be called out to have to go to the emergency room to make decisions about whether somebody should be involuntarily or committed or whatever. You're right in the middle of a date, you know. So the fact that she stuck with me through that probably speaks volumes. We ended up buying Irma Baumbeck's original house in Centerville, which was a very, very interesting connection with her being, you know, such a big figure from UD. Now, I always joke around with my friends that please tell people that this is the house she lived in before she became rich and famous, or otherwise someone might have a grandiose idea of of the community that I live in. Lovaas was interested in comparing what he called an intensive treatment group. There were 19 people in.
First of all, I like that it's not just like a lecture.
Like showing more sensitive changes, I think, would be better for the outcomes.
He likes to interact with his students.
What would be the purposes of this type of convergent validity?
And I really like his approach to teaching because he takes an integrative approach and he combines teaching with research and service.
I started using service learning in the 90s, and this was for that project that I received the Service Learning Awards. Students need to be able to apply theory and research to real-life examples. My current emphasis is on service learning projects focused on homelessness. And these students will work in homeless shelters such as Daybreak.
My experiences here have definitely helped shape my interests and my goals for my career. One thing, I've done a lot of work with clients who have been victims of family or intimate partner violence.
So we're going to talk about self-awareness.
I mainly do work with the token economy, and so it's basically how clients here earn their rental subsidy, and it's really neat because I get to meet them the second they move in, and I really get to see how they develop here and take a hand in trying to help them succeed here.
Well, this is the only class where I was approached with this opportunity. It was surprising in that no other professor had asked me to be engaged in service learning. And it stuck to me so much. 2 years later, I'm still involved with Dr. Reeb and service learning and homelessness, and I go all the time down to St. Vincent's and still help out.
So I developed this community service self-efficacy scale. It's based theoretically on Bandura's self-efficacy theory. And so if you can foster mastery experiences in students as they're out there working in the community, you will be improving their sense of self-efficacy. The psychoecological systems model is an integrative approach that I developed in conjunction with one of my graduate students a few years ago, Susan Folger. This model integrates 3 theoretical developments: the biopsychosocial model. It also incorporates the Bandura's principle of reciprocal determinism. Finally, this model, which my students fondly refer to as PESM as an acronym, incorporates the ecological system model developed originally by Yuri Bronfenbrenner, which looks at all of the layers of systems surrounding the person. And this model, PESM, is a driving force behind the course that I've developed for the Common Academic Program. in the fall, which we've called Engaged Scholarship for Homelessness. And I encourage them to work with me at a level where they can earn co-authorship on papers and presentations at professional conferences. And that type of research mentoring, I think, is a very important aspect of teaching beyond the classroom.